Greetings, folks. This is Mrs. Dancing Moon here. Hope you're having a great day. Today for this video, I wanted to share about C-section scar tissue, and in particular, get to the massage. But before we actually get to the massage, I wanted to talk about why this is so important. So what's not typically shared with a woman after she has, or even before she has a C-section, usually you sign a waiver and you don't really know what's on that waiver. You don't really have a chance to read it. You don't know exactly what the risks are and what the possible outcomes could be. And so usually it's in hindsight that someone is actually looking at all of this information or figuring out what's coming up. And what can come up for a lot of people is pain, pain during moving, sitting, standing, lifting, squatting, pain during intercourse. And sometimes what's thought of is that has to do with their pelvic floor. However, in all reality, it actually has to do with their scar tissue. And so the scar tissue itself, while it's great because what it's doing is it's helping heal the tissue, helping heal the skin and bring it all back together, it's basically created its own glue and it's adhering in just a variety of places. But part of the issue and part of the, I want to say, like, lack of intelligence of our body with regards to scar tissue is that it just sort of adheres wherever it can. So sometimes that means that it's adhering to nerves or ligaments, or I heard a very unfortunate story of a woman who had been throwing up for a whole week, and she went to the hospital, was hospitalized. It was after a day that they realized that the scar tissue from her C-section had actually adhered to her intestines, and that it is what was causing her so much illness. And unfortunately, the only remedy they gave her was further surgery, which seems really counterproductive, because if you think about it, that's just going to generate more scar tissue. So it might solve the immediate problem of her symptoms at the time, but it could potentially just create more issues. And so, not to scare anyone that has had a cesarean, because there are many women who have, and there are many women who are living happily and freely and joyously, but also just to bring awareness of what could be possible, because sometimes women are having things happen to them and they don't really know the cause, and it could be what seems as non-related as their C-section, as the scar tissue. I'm certainly not a medical provider, so I'm not diagnosing anybody, so please know that. But just know that in this age of information, you have more access and ability to potentially consider, oh my gosh, my irritable bowel syndrome could be a cause of my C-section scar, or my constipation could be because of that, or my hip pain could be because of that, or the intercourse, actually the penis is actually rubbing onto the inner layer of the scar, causing pain. And so it's not fun anymore. It was maybe fun the time that we got pregnant, but there could be heavy menstrual bleeding, post a cesarean section, because of what's happening with the scar tissue. So and there's more. There's definitely more. I'm just touching upon a few things that can come up, maybe some of the more common things that can come up. Because scar tissue can be tighter on one side than maybe another, sometimes that means that we're adjusting our movements for that to avoid pain in some areas. So, over time, if we're doing repeated motions and we're doing them kind of in a tweakish manner, that could be giving us problems in our lower back or in our posture, or maybe in our actual hips, the way that we're facing and the way that we're presenting our bodies when we're standing and when we're sitting and when we're doing everything. And it can just create gradual, slight shifts and tweaks that are not ideal positions that we want to be, ideal ranges of motion that we need to be for a healthy body. So, in a nutshell, that's the importance of why introducing massage can be super helpful. It can help break up the scar tissue so that it actually is dissolving, so that it actually is being removed and eliminated. We may not be able to do that completely, but we can probably do that with a lot of the scar tissue. And also just keep in mind that C-sections are a surgery. And typically when one has a surgery, knee replacement, hip replacement, this, removed, that replaced, and, when we're cutting the body, there's usually some amount of recovery, some amount of therapy that is provided and strongly recommended for someone afterwards. And unfortunately, there isn't usually any type of therapy that's recommended for women who are having cesarean sections. And that's really unfortunate because there can be a lot that can be avoided, further on down the line. And so massage is one therapy that could be introduced to someone, that might be really helpful. So that's my goal in sharing this video, is introducing just a few of the techniques of massage. There are multiple, probably even beyond what I know. I probably know about 8 to 10 different massage techniques for it. And I'm just going to share a few here today. And what you're going to need is any type of oil. So whether you've got, I have here castor oil, or even if you just have coconut oil or olive oil or anything of that sort. I love essential oils and I love the healing properties of essential oils. So today I've chosen frankincense for its healing properties on the skin and all the benefits that it offers. So you don't have to add that additional layer, but it can be helpful. Lavender is also a great one for the skin and healing. Some might actually prefer the lavender for healing the skin, and especially for scars. So just take your pick, either choose 2 or not 2, or maybe next time, or whatever it is. And I'm going to aim the camera downwards. I'm going to actually do the massage on my leg. I want to be able to use 2 hands, and I don't have a subject here with me today for this recording, so maybe I'll redo the video at some point. But for now, I just wanted to get this information out there so that, for those of you who are watching, that you have some foundational point. So there are physical therapists that specialize in stuff like this, so you're welcome to seek out their help. I do offer classes on this as well. I offer one-on-ones on this as well and can help. So, there is access. It's just not so widely known and so widely talked about, but it's out there. All right. So I'm just going to tilt the camera down. There we go. There's my leg. And I'm going to place a little bit of the castor oil in my hand. There we go. And I'm going to add a drop or 2 of frankincense. Let's see how much comes out. Oh, we got 2 drops there. All right. And because we're going to end up using both hands, I'm going to go ahead and rub it between both hands. It already smells so amazing. Frankincense is just delicious. I'm just going to kind of cover the surface area real quick. I still have a lot on my hands. I don't know if you can see the shininess. But so let's say my scar is from here to here. So the first thing that we can do is just what's called a trigger point release. So what you do is just gently pressing across the length of the scar, noticing any places where it might be painful. Maybe nowhere, but usually there is some place. So it could be, you could be pressing right along the top, or maybe you're actually pressing along the outer edges on either side. And if you do get to an area that's a little more painful, what you'll want to do is just press and hold. If you can hold it for about a minute, great. Maybe only 30 seconds, that's okay too. But then take a breath and then do it again. See if you can do it maybe 2 or 3 times. And then just try to repeat it until the pain is reduced like maybe 50%. See if that's possible. And then continue to move along the scar. You know, maybe you only have one point, maybe you have a couple of different points. So just repeat that. Again, that one is called the trigger point release. And remember to breathe. Remember to remain relaxed, especially in the pelvic floor and in your shoulders. Just long, deep breaths. Yes, it might be painful, but what you're trying to do is just move through that pain, try to find a relaxation point, and ultimately get that relaxation to come over the sensations. All right, so the next technique I want to share is called long horizontal strokes. Basically, what you're doing is gently, as much as you can without feeling too much pain, but you want to stroke across the length of your scar. So you decide how much pressure you want to place onto it, but see if you can get about maybe 20 strokes across in one direction. You know, and as the pain decreases, feel free to increase your pressure. So if it doesn't feel as intense, you know, try to press a little firmer. And when you've completed that 20, move along and travel in the other direction. Same thing, maybe starting off a little more gentle, and then as you're able to, increase the pressure. Now I'm using my pointer fingers. You can, you know, if it feels right to use your thumb, great. If you need to use your middle fingers, if you need to use your ring fingers or your pinky fingers or whatever the case, you know, because what you're doing is you're going to be doing it on your abdomen, okay? All right, and then we've got small circles. So what you're going to want to do is, again, starting from one side to the other, you're going to want to just rotate in small circles. I'm going clockwise, moving from my left to my right. And you can vary your pressure. Even in the other strokes that we did earlier, you can vary your pressure. So if, oh my goodness, here it hurts, maybe I want to lighten it up a little bit. That's about as much as I can handle. And then keep going. Maybe I can take a little bit more pressure over here in this area. Okay? And then same thing on the other side. Oh, maybe I want to ease up right here. And they're just small circles right over the tissue, right over the scar. Okay? And maybe do that 2-3 times back and forth. All right? And then the last one is we're going to want to try to lift. So lift, almost like you're pinching the tissue. And you don't want to just get that top layer. You actually want to try to get a little bit of the underlying tissue too. It might be kind of hard if you know, you have the oil on your hands, but do your best to try to really get underneath. And if you can hold it, so I'm going to get a fleshier part. If you can hold it for about 30 seconds and then move on, press, hold, release. Press, hold, release. This is called the abdominal scar lift. And so again, you want to do that, you know, back and forth on each side. So again, those are just a few of the massage techniques. There are more that exist out there. There are other resources out there. Again, I can be a resource. There are many other resources out there, local physical therapists, especially who do this type of work. I think they're just such a blessing. So if you find one in your area, check it out, try to utilize their services. They can be just such a blessing to one's life. So leave your comments, leave your suggestions. I'd love to hear feedback on how this works for you. Maybe try this as a relaxation opportunity. This is massage. It's maybe not a shoulder massage or a low back massage, but it is an opportunity for you to try to relax, gain some comfort, and breathe. So enjoy.